Bum, ba bum, 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 ba ba bum, bum. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Underscore Dropping Dimes, aka the Hopeful Romantic, aka the feminist with chauvinist tendencies. And I'm here to say hello to everyone. This is episode 9 of season 1, and I have a great guest on today. She's going to be waiting in the background as I give her flowers. She's somebody that I worked with often over the years regarding our this program. She's one of the people that, in the very beginning, I reached out to because she's such a unique thinker, and whether it was about marriage, whether it was about love, whether it was about sex, she always came from with a very unique perspective, and I really appreciated it. So anytime I could have her on the show, I jump on it. And as a matter of fact, due to popular demand, I brought her back. This is my friend, Miss Illy. She should be coming out any second now. Today, we plan on talking about a lot of different things. One of the questions I want to ask her about, she's one of the people that believes marriage is what you call an archaic way of thinking. It doesn't go well with today's society or what the needs of today's society are. So I'm always really excited to get her perspective on that. There's a lot to it because she doesn't just, go with the low hanging fruit and give you the obvious answers. She always goes, pretty deep and a couple layers deep in her argument on why she believes certain things. I really enjoy her perspective on jealousy and what that means. See, I've always been a person that I believe I am territorial. I don't think I'm a jealous person. I'm more so, I trust the person that I'm with. It's usually I'm very guarded around the people around them. You know what I mean? But that's me being a man, not trusting the guys. I know a lot of Grammy guys. I know a lot of Grammy guys that do a lot of Grammy shit. And the minute you give her they're pushing up, they're doing whatever. So it's not that I don't trust the woman to do the right thing. It's more so I don't trust the guys around her to do the right thing, especially the bestie, which we'll definitely talk about and touch on. Other areas are sex. I always like to ask the question, hey man, what would you rather have, big dick or big dick energy? So I'm curious to know what her answer is. And she's also back to go over she's one of the original people I played this game with, red flag, no red flag. So I came back with a couple of really interesting scenarios for that, and I would like to hear her point of view and what she thinks. So far, what do you call it? She's like I said, she's a mom, she's an entrepreneur, she's an overall hustler. More important than anything, she's a free thinker. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to give a warm round of applause for my homie, Miss Illy.
Not the round of applause.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I can't complain, man. It's been a minute. It's been a minute, man. We used to do this on a regular, and I was in the audience.
I fixed my lighting. I feel like I'm a little dark here, but
Little
okay.
something, little something. You good? You good though? What do you call it? Yeah, man. I just wanted to bring it back to old school, how we used to just sit it up and chat, and I was just expressing to the audience how you're one of those people that you're a free thinker, man. Especially when it comes to thoughts like marriage, when it comes to relationships, jealousy. You know what I mean? So one of the things I wanted to go over was I've always really liked your perspective. All right, when it comes to jealousy, I remember you telling me something like, basically, you put your trust out there. You let people do what they're gonna do. You know what I mean? Like you let them handle, and if they're gonna disappoint you, they're gonna do it regardless, and you don't really have a lot of control. But I want you to tell the audience, talk more about that. I don't know if you remember. Maybe I'll give a little refresher on it. But you
Yeah,
thought,
I mean, I don't remember a specific conversation, but my viewpoint is my viewpoint. Not that that can't ever change, but yeah, when it comes to the jealousy thing, one thing I've realized in relationships is that people are going to do what they want to do, and so we all have feelings of jealousy. I think it's a natural feeling, but how you manage that and process it, you know, makes a difference, can make or break the relationship, really, and a lot of times we stress ourselves about things we can't control anyway. So it's like, just let it be, enjoy it. If the situation is good, if the person is not giving you reason to believe, that they're up to no good, then give them the benefit of the doubt. You're here in the first place.
I always say, man, the only guy that doesn't cheat is the guy that doesn't want to. There's nothing
Mm,
else stopping him. There's nothing.
right.
Like, you'll get a lot of questions like, or see a lot of memes and they'll be like, oh, if you take care of him, if you give him a blowjob before after he gets home, and you give him time, and you do this, and you get, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, man,
Right. Any woman who's given blowjobs and cooked and cleaned and did all the things knows that that's not true. So, yeah.
absolutely,
But
there's
whatever y'all go
nothing.
off, whatever makes y'all feel good in your memes.
Exactly. Whatever you're putting out there, whatever you think is gonna function. No, it doesn't. The only man that's faithful is the man that wants to be faithful. That's it. End of sentence. Women rarely see guys, right? We'll play this game where we'll act like, oh, there was reasons, and yeah, no, she didn't, and he didn't. And there's outliers where there are, situations
Right. I mean, yeah, yeah.
somebody was completely destroyed and or mistreated, and they stepped out. Don't get me wrong, but for the most part, man, that's not true. For the most part, guys, when you're a faithful guy, you be going through the mud, and you just stay faithful. You know what I'm saying? And you're not. You could be heaven on earth, and you'll still cheat. You'll still do what you want. You know what I mean? So it has nothing to do with the woman that you are. And too often, and maybe you could speak to this. Too often, maybe you had friends or family or whatever that when their man cheats on them, they take on the brunt of it. Like, oh, um, I could have done this, I could have done that. And you're like, nah, there's really much. The
No,
guy
I
ain't
don't really have those friends. Yeah, most of us be like, that nigga ain't shit. Fuck him. He don't know what
yeah,
he had.
he ain't shit.
I don't need him, girl. We don't need him. You don't need him. Let's go. No, but it does happen. I mean, and I think even if you don't vocalize it, you do internalize that to some degree. You're always gonna question, like, is there something that I did or do or didn't do or wasn't enough of or was too much of or whatever. But yeah, it's natural.
I don't know. I'm like, I also wanted to talk about your marriage, right? Do you feel like marriage what's that called,
Concept,
uh, dogma, or the outdated, I forget the word that they use,
institution.
institution. There you go.
No, I think that some of the norms around marriage are outdated, and I think that it's important for people to remember that you got to do what works for you. And it's 2022, and some traditional aspects of relationships will always hold true. And some things will adjust with the time and the
What do you think of some of
situation.
the things that have adjusted in time?
Huh?
What do you think of some of the things that have adjusted in time, like that have evolved, that are?
I think obviously one of the main things is the woman's role in, like, the household and running a household, providing income for a household. That's changed a lot, from the traditional aspect. And depending on the dynamic, sometimes the woman is the primary breadwinner. So it's something that has to be taken into consideration. If you have traditional values, maybe you have to assess those and see if it's time to make some compromises. I think we've had that conversation before too, about people that want, traditional. They want traditional but don't want to give traditional. I know
Yeah, I
men.
was going to ask you that. Do you think, right? Do you think most women really understand what it means to lead that type of lifestyle? Like a lot of women, you'll hear a lot of people say that, like, "Oh, I want to stay home." What they really mean is, "I want to stay home and not do shit and hang out and kind of like you buy me purses and you take me on vacations." I don't think they really understand what it constituted to be that stay-at-home wife in the past. They look at what dad did and they don't really appreciate maybe what mom did, and they're like, "Oh, you don't realize that he never packed his own lunch. Oh, you never realized he didn't iron his own shirts. You don't realize he didn't even know where the laundry was." You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes with that, man. And I
But
feel
I
like,
hear there's that side of it too, but I also hear most, the man complaint is that she doesn't want to be the stay at home, right? She wants you to be traditional and whatever, whatever, but also she wants to be a breadwinner and have a say and have a voice and be running shit. And, I don't, it's not too often that I don't know of any. I mean, you got the city girl vibe where it's like, yeah, I just want to be taken care of and flued out. But, you
flued
know,
out. Oh Lord.
I think most, normal, not that that's not normal, but you know what I'm saying. The average woman that wants to stay home, I do understand. There's something that comes with that, but most of us don't want that because what comes with that also is a lot of sit down and shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I feel like that power dynamic. That's where it really goes wrong. If there was able a way where they can get away with staying home, and there was in their mind an equal power dynamic, like a distribution of say so, then they would do it. But as soon as they're like, "Oh, you mean my voice isn't as heard as yours, or isn't it?" And which is, see, I've always battled with that, right? Because I've always felt like back in the day, women maybe on the surface looked like they didn't have a voice, but when it came down to it, I always felt like most of what got done was what they wanted. Even you can go as far back, and I know it's TV, but you go as far back as I Love Lucy, like something like that, right? Where even back then, mind you, this is in the 50s, you're watching this show, and they're basically saying that in a comedic way, where Desi he puts his foot down, he says this, he says that, and you have hopeless Lucy. She doesn't really know nothing, but at the end of the day, at the end of every episode, who gets what she wants? Lucy. And I've always felt like that about the quote unquote traditional woman. I always give the example, right? It's like, who wins in this scenario? And maybe you can help me out. Woman A wants her kitchen done. Okay, woman A wants her kitchen done. She comes out and she tells her husband, and the husband's like, "No, we don't have the money." Da da da. She's like, "F you! I got my own money. I'm getting the kitchen done," and she goes and gets it done. Right? Cool. She's a boss. She's a badass. Then there's woman B. Let's say she doesn't have that job. She's not working like woman A does. Right? Husband goes, "Hey, I want a new kitchen." "No, I don't." Da da da. He says no. She smooths him over, finesses him little by little. Before you know it, she has her own kitchen, except he paid for it. Well, I guess that's kind of like the
Right.
money came out of the household.
This is mine. Right.
The money came out of the household. Who wins in that scenario? To me, the woman that finessed him, there's no difference. Nobody's a loser there. Just because you came out of your own pocket, that doesn't make you any better than the woman that finessed her husband to doing it. You know what I mean? And I've always felt like
Yeah.
there's a stigma attached, like, "Oh, I got to do it on myself." That doesn't make you better. If you're in a marriage or you're in a situation where you're calling yourself a couple or a bond, I just don't feel like anytime you have to come out and do it yourself, right? It's a victory.
But that's a power move. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, to me, it's not a victory. To me, it's the victory is, excuse me, is if you can get the partner to agree. You know what I'm saying? You guys
That's a
can get on the
fact.
same
Yeah. I
page.
mean, yeah, you're a union. You're supposed to be
Right.
moving in
Is
harmony.
winner. So, like, let's say woman A has her own money, but she convinces husband, like, "Hey, no, let's do this together." Now she's the ultimate victor. Like, that's the way. You know what I mean? That's like the
Yeah,
ideal, I guess.
I
But
agree. And that's an art though. That's an art, the art of seduction, right? Like getting what
yes,
you want from a man who's like, nah. And I don't know, sometimes the modern woman just be like, listen, I ain't got time for that. I got it in the bank account. Fuck you. I'm gonna go get my own damn
yeah.
kitchen.
And the thing is, well, that's one of the arguments, not arguments. That's one of the discussions I have with some of these new age guys, right? I try to tell them, "Hey, listen, man, You back in the day, I've always felt like back in the day, money was the primary way a guy provided safety and security to his woman. It was the easiest, most obvious way, right? He had the money. He was able to pay bills. He was able to take care of the household. She felt comfortable. She was happy because everything was taken care of. That's the traditional old school way, right? Well, somewhere along the line, women started making their own money, right? They became powerful. They're empowered. They got their own money. So now, men having money in a relationship doesn't do as much. It doesn't go as far. Now you're looking at them like, I have my own money. So I always say this, fellas, we have to change the way we think. If you are at a job and the job changed technologies, if you don't change with the times, you're going to lose your job.
Period.
You're going to lose your job. The same thing happens with these women. You have to adapt with the times. There's a new way to provide safety and security. It's no longer money. It's not the primary way. Now it's transparency, it's openness, trust, being trusting, a little bit of vulnerability. These things that were taboo back in the day. You give this woman these things now. You let her know that she has a secure place in your mind and in your heart, and that's the new form of safety and security. Letting her know, I see what you see. We're on
Right.
the same team. I'm not fighting up against you. You're not pushing up against the tide. I'm with you. We're going in the same direction. What worries you at night, what keeps you up at night, I'm aware of it and I'm doing something about it. These are the things that shift, you
Yeah,
know?
that's
And I
I mean,
feel like
that's a specific example of kind of what I was saying in the beginning is that you have to adapt, with the change in times. There are some outdated ideals that still work for some people, even though they are outdated. I'm not poo-pooing them and saying that they're bad. There are plenty of people that have that dynamic and it works wonderfully for them, and more power to them. But I think that one of the more progressive things people can do in general is just realize that there's not a one size fits all, layout for a relationship. You got to make it work how you make it work. And yes, because most women are not totally reliant on a man financially, there is more that has to come to the table.
my next question is about infidelity. Do you feel like couples can truly ever bounce back from an infidelity? I know some people that once that happens, they're done. And no matter how much hard they try, it'll never go back to normal, right? And then I've seen some couples where, at least on the outside, they become stronger after the situation has happened and they fix it and they resolve it and they talk it out, whatever. What are your thoughts on like something like that? On
Yeah, it's a case by case basis. I think that a lot of your ability to bounce back is going to be like how deep the infidelity went, your perspective surrounding the infidelity. Some people have some more open views around sex and are not going to be as offended by the act as much as the deceit of it, whereas some people are just offended all around. Yeah, of course anything is possible. Yes, of course, I do think that people can bounce back from it, but it's not an easy thing to bounce back from. And I think that it's a process. It's not like, okay, I forgive you, yay, we're gonna go back to normal and we turn around and we're stronger than ever. Like, it's not a linear path to forgiveness or healing. There's going to be days where it's great and like, okay, this is good. We're getting through this. And then somebody's triggered and now we're beefing, about something that happened a year ago.
do you feel like cheating could be a mistake? When a man says, I made a mistake, do you believe it being so? One time I mentioned that, and guys were like, guys and girls both jumped on me, and they were like, it's not a mistake because you did it and you intended to do it and you wanted to do it. And I argued that no, at some point afterwards, you were like, oh man, not necessarily like with the situation. You were like, damn, I messed up. Damn, I messed up. You know what I mean? So do you believe cheating can be a mistake, or do you believe it's always intentional? It's always something that you did.
I mean, oof, that's loaded. I think that as an adult, we're talking someone 21 or over, you for the most part, are conscious and aware of the decisions and choices that you make. So I think a mistake and an accident sometimes get intertwined, and it's not the same thing, right? Clearly, sticking your penis where it doesn't belong is not an accident. You did that on purpose. However, I do believe that. I mean, we're human, right? That's the thing. Is like I think people get in relationships and they expect their partner to have this holier
Superhuman.
than thou, behavior, and it's just all about me, and I'm the best, and I'm all you'll ever need. We're all fucking human. Things happen. People find themselves in situations where they are weak in the flesh and do something that they might regret in the moment. Hopefully they regret it before in your hand, like, oh, this is too far, let me not go all the way. That's the ideal. But sometimes it does go all the way and you bust a nut and then it's like, damn, what did I just do? And now you realize it was a mistake. That
Situation.
was not something that I should have done. I did it because I was weak, and I fucked up.
I
So
think
yeah.
that's step one, acknowledging that you fucked up. Not yeah, not it's just so complicated for me because I you know me, I don't talk from a position of like, oh, I would never, I have never. I've
Right.
been the fuck up, I've been the asshole, I've been the one that messed up. And I could honestly say there's been occasions where even as I'm going through the action, I'm like, shit, oh man, like damn, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. And you find yourself at the point of no return, you're like, all right, no, you know what I'm saying? Like, and even if I always feel like a good guy can make a mistake. And I know that word is like very triggering to people. It's not a mistake if you put your penis. No, sometimes like you're out, you're having a drink, you're chilling, and that person catches you in a moment of vulnerability, where you're very vulnerable in that moment, right? And you're susceptible to the outside charms of a woman. You know what I mean? And again, um, this is not like I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm not trying to sit here and be like, oh, but what was no, no, you fucked up, you fucked up. I get it. But I want to get a different perspective. Like there has been times in my life where I went out, I had one too many, and I was already in a mood when I came out, like with something on my mind, and somebody captured me with some conversation, some whatever, and before you know it, we're out, and it's like, oh man, I'm not supposed to do this, and like you kind of snap out of it, and you back up, but it's already too late. You already kind of like, did some things, and so like I always struggle with that, like, should we be so hard on ourselves? Should it be that should we be that hard on ourselves? You know what I'm saying? And are we not we're not our past mistakes. We are not that person. You know what I'm saying? Like, forgive yourself, move on. I always say the best sign for a man, at least towards a woman, is change behavior. Change
Hmm.
behavior is the best apology you can give somebody. Like, again, sometimes some people need the words, but change behavior is the best thing you could offer
Well,
somebody.
like Diana in the comments, she's like, don't put yourself in that situation. I think that's a good, sometimes you can't help it on that initial time, right? But like, okay, say you're a dude, you were at the strip club and you had one too many, then sir, there should be no more strip clubs for you. You know what I'm saying? If you know that you can't control yourself,
You
you
know you
can't be
can't keep it in your pants. No.
there. Right.
We do have some comments though. Yeah, you're right. Let's touch on some of these comments. Miriam says, "I'm a single mother." This is talking regarding the subject we just talked about, traditional marriage and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a single mother, and I've been the main provider for my family for many years. Therefore, I don't know how it feels to have a man take care of me and mine. However, I would love one day to find a man who will take care of me in every aspect, spoil me, in other words. I
Yes,
get
yes.
it. But are you prepared to relinquish that kind of energy? Remember, having a man that is like that requires something of you. And a lot of times, being so independent for so long, that's very difficult, man. Number one,
Mm-hmm.
trust.
Mm-hmm.
You don't trust that the person is doing, so they have to earn that from you first. Second, it's like you're so used to doing things one way, they come into your life and they decide, I'm still doing what's best for you, but I'm doing it my way, and because they didn't put the ham, cheese, cheese, ham, you know what I'm saying? They put cheese, cheese, ham, ham, you're flipping on them. You know what I'm saying? So like that's the kind of thing I'm trying to say. Like, be mindful of what you're asking for. I get it. Every woman, most women would like that to step back. And what I found is, especially if women are in charge all the time, you know what I'm saying? They're dying to meet that guy that says, babe, just sit back, relax, I got this. Right? Until they get the guy that says, sit back, relax, I got this. They got that guy, and then it's like, yeah, but I don't eat pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't eat Chinese. Yeah, but I don't eat. And you're like, oh man, damn, this is harder than I thought. You know what I'm saying? I thought all I had to do was take the keys to the car, you sit in the passenger seat, I got you. But now all of a sudden you don't eat Thai food, and it's like shit, man. It's a kink in the plan. So, you know,
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
and that's a tool. That's again, we all got to learn to adapt and make it work. That's all.
So Marin says she believes it could happen. Definitely a big mistake. Like you said, Diana says, yeah, I believe that could whatever. Okay, then don't put yourself in that situation. We all learn from past choices. That's when communication comes into play. Absolutely. Look, absolutely. Um, Obviously, communication is the immune system that fights off anything that happens in your relationship. You know
But
what I mean?
question, like, so you obviously, if you think that people can make a mistake, I would imagine that you have been a mistake maker in your life. Have
Yeah.
you ever made a mistake? And what about the situation? Like, at what point did you realize it was a mistake? And why wasn't it a mistake prior to? Was it just your primal urges?
It was the state of mind I was in. Okay, so I'll go back to one particular instance, right? I used to go to this bar to hang out. Okay, and not all the time, but I wasn't like a regular, but I'd pass by, hang out a little, and then. And I remember this particular day, without giving away too much information, I had been going through some shit, right? Um, it was a combination of shit. It was the day, and this is why I kind of one of the theories I came up with. It was the day, right, that I gave a woman that I thought loved me my vulnerability. And that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna like talk on what I talked about that day. I went to her and she gave me this, yo, why don't you man up attitude, right? And that day I had to make a choice, and I was kind of like, okay, so she's not the person I can go to. Like it's not there. Now, mind you, I go to this bar. Let's call it what it was. It was a strip joint. I go to the strip joint. I'm sitting down at the counter. The place is dead that day. I'm having a couple of drinks. Little Susie comes and sits next to me. She's playing the girlfriend. Like, are you okay? Oh, that's all I need to hear. I'm like, no, I'm not okay. You know what I'm talking, right? She's getting me to talk. She's getting me whatever. Da da da. She's like, hey, I get off in a couple hours. You want to go? And I'm not naive. I know she didn't mean let's go talk more. I know that's not what she meant. But in that moment, my ego was so destroyed by what happened earlier that it was a welcomed relief. You know what I'm saying? It was a mistake. It was wrong. I shouldn't have done it. But I felt like it was a welcomed relief, and I was like, yeah, let's go talk. Let's go talk. And she played it smooth. She played it smooth. Things happened, right? And it's funny because, like I said before, I knew the minute I got in the car, I'm like, okay, this is wrong. I'm already fucking up. You know what I mean? And then once things started to escalate, as a matter of fact, I'll come clean. Nothing happened as far as physical. We didn't go there because I got to the point where she reached over, she felt kissed kind of thing, and I was like, okay, whoa, like everything came back to me, and I was like, nah, this isn't gonna make me feel any better as far as
So you
what I'm
caught
going
yourself,
through.
and so does that qualify as a mistake?
Well, you see, this is where we gotta, I guess, go back and ask the audience what defines cheating. You know what I mean? Like maybe we need to go there because there's um there's emotional cheating that sometimes people weigh that with as much weight as they do the physical act. I've always heard this, right? Maybe this is probably outdated, but I've always heard this. I've always heard when a woman cheats, a man asks, "Did you fuck him?" When a man cheats, a woman asks, "Do you love her?" And it's like the woman feels like if you gave her my emotions that belong to me, I can't forgive you. That's too much. If you just gave him the physical, maybe we can move past it. On the flip side of that, a guy is like, you talk to zero off, I don't give a shit. Oh, you sucked his dick? No, hell no. Oh my God, are you kidding me? You're a whore. You know what I'm saying? And then you're going off. That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? So like I've always heard that. So that kind of plays in my mind as far as like the different types of cheating. I've been in relationships where you can't have an ex girlfriend on social media. That oh you go what? Oh my God, it's so like ugh. You know what I'm saying? I've had other relationships where they're like, oh yeah, yeah, chill, like you good. Like they're very flexible, very open about what they perceive as cheating. You know what I mean? So it's like that giant range. If we can figure out what that the average range is on what's considered cheating, where's your line? What's
I
your line?
mean, like, let's be real. Come on. Like, aside from an ongoing long-term situation, that gets different. But okay, it's a bar one night and I go too far. To me, anything short of, genital contact with hands, face, or mouth, I don't consider cheating. You know what I mean? You might get in somebody's face, you might get flirty, 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 but if you catch yourself like you did, I would respect my man in that regard and I would not be upset. We're human. Like, come, I would not expect that every situation you're going to be on the up and up and, you're never going to smile in anybody's face or come on, like, let's be real.
I'm gonna give you a scenario, right? And if the person that this scenario is about listens to this, I might end up getting punched in the face again. But because I did get punched in the face once. Um,
Oh, gosh.
so one time, right, I was dead asleep in the house. Um, an ex gets home and when decides to go through my phone, just picks up my phone, and me,
It happens.
not, I don't know, I just wasn't thinking, no lock, no nothing on the phone. She picks up the phone and it says in Spanish, "Yo, look, something happened at the bar. Can you please, baby, can you come get me?" Right? And I get woken up to a punch in the face. Like, think, 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 hey, what's up? What does this mean? Bang! I'm like, whoa, whoa, ding, ding, ding. I'm seeing stars and shit, right? And in that moment, I had to, what in my opinion was cop to a lesser plea. You know what I'm saying? Cop to a lesser charge.
Right.
So she's like, "You're
Typical.
cheating on me." Da, da, da. I'm like, no, no. And I had to cop. In my mind, I'm copping to my deal. In my mind, I'm copping to a lesser plea, so I'm to a lesser charge. And I told her, no, is that me? You've been bugging, and I just the other day I was there at the bar and I just shared some emotions with her. Mind you, I thought I was doing the right thing. Yo, why that almost caught me another left hook because she was like, "What?" It would almost hurt her more that I went to somebody else and opened up to them, right? Than if I would have told her, "Yo, I slept with that chick," and it means nothing. She literally was like, "You shit." Like, oh my God. And all this time, me being a dumb man, sit there like, yeah, yeah, I'm copping to a lesser charge here. You know what I'm saying? It's not physical. I didn't fuck her. You know what I'm saying? And in reality, she took it just as hard, yo. As a matter of fact, to this day, it's almost worse. It's like, I cannot believe that you uh,
Wow.
shared that what belongs to me. Your heart belongs to me. Your emotions belong to me. This communication thing, you know what I mean? I always say for a woman, communication equals love. So if I'm sharing my communication with somebody else, she knows what that means. She says, when I share my communication with something else, with somebody else, I'm checking out. I'm out of here. I'm done. I'm done with you. If I'm not communicating with you. So are you
Right.
done with me? Is it over? I didn't realize how pregnant that was with information.
Mm,
You know what I mean? And now I looking back, I'm like, oh, that's what that means, yo. That's deep, yo. Like you gotta, you almost rather tell her I slept with her once and it never happened again. I know,
right.
don't get me wrong, you're still gonna get your ass beat.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? So
No,
um,
but it's different too, because yeah, it's like okay, oh, she was just a little thotty thought, that was disposable to you. Then okay, maybe I can forgive that. Versus yeah, somebody that you have feelings for. Clearly, if it's an ongoing situation, or again it's new, but you just sharing everything. Yeah, no, you like her.
all I keep thinking was the ringing in my ear that happened that night after I caught that breath. Like what the hell? What's
That's
going on
funny.
here? What happened?
Things
So
like that.
all right, and so you said anything short of genital contact or whatever is not cheating in your opinion?
Yeah, like, cause I can even forgive a little kiss if it gets to that. Again, you've been drinking, whatever.
Did you
Shit
ever hear this?
happens. That's me though. I'm a little not as
You're
whatever.
definitely your thinking is a little more progressive than a lot of women in that area.
Right. So
Let me
I
ask you,
know
did you ever
something.
hear this growing up? I don't know if I did. He cheated on me, but he cheated on me with respect.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've heard that one. I guess the main thing is like, a lot of women get to a point, I think, where they kind of expect men to cheat. Like niggas ain't shit, basically. But I like them. Can't live with them. Can't live without them, kind of thing. And so, if a dude is cheating, as you expect them to, but you don't know about it, or you only know about it because you maybe did some super duper duper digging, it's different than the dude that's just sloppy and disrespectful and got bitches calling you and got babies in the streets and you finding stuff without even looking for it. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference. Respect is a loaded word there, but
It really is.
but I couldn't appreciate someone. Can I appreciate that? Yeah, I guess I can't appreciate it either way. But if you're gonna do it, depending on the
It's
situation,
so
I guess.
weird, right? Doesn't it get into like this weird gray area where it's like, no, you better not cheat, period. But then I've met so many women in my life, right? I've met so many women in my life that they say stuff like, "Oh, my ex was the most amazing man. He took care of me. He took me out, whatever. If only he would have been like more discreet about his cheating." You know what I
Mm.
mean? It's like I would have tolerated so much, except it came in my face, and once it came in my face, I couldn't
It went
hide it
too hard,
anymore.
right? Because now I'm embarrassed. Now, as other people know about it or whatever. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, nobody wants their partner to cheat, man, woman, whatever. But if they make it so that you can turn the other cheek and turn a blind eye and, pretend it's not happening, then it's tolerable if all the other aspects of the relationship are
I'm
good.
glad you're honest, because so many women right there, right then and there, they'd be like, "No, no," they'd be answering that with their ego and not the
Yeah,
reality
like,
of the
because
situation.
here's the thing: what you don't know won't hurt you. That's what I'm saying. It's not even cheating with respect, so that it's a secret between me and you. Like, nah, nigga, I don't want to know it's happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're doing your dirt, then that's by all means. But me and you better be good. I need to be happy. Our financial situation needs to be straight. If you got time to do all of that, and I don't know about it, then you know what? More power to you.
That's what I find. I find like first we have a comment. Diana says respect is respect. If you're even contemplating the idea of cheating, don't get into a relationship. Yeah, well, we're talking post. We're talking about like you've already been married for a couple of years. You're invested. And okay, we're also not talking about your average dude. Like especially in the manosphere and the internet, they're always talking about that 1% dude. What they really mean is this guy has given you a lifestyle that you really enjoy. Let's put it like this: he's giving you a lifestyle that you cannot provide for yourself. Because it's different if you can provide it for yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
different if I could be like, shit, I could get myself a little townhouse and whatever, whatever. No, no, that's not what we're talking. We're talking about guys that provide you a different level of living, and they get into this situation where they step out and they do what they do. I feel like women. But there's two things. Number one, when there's children involved, I never judge women when it comes to staying. You know what I mean? Like a lot of women do stay for the benefit of their children. You know what I mean? But then there's those women that stay for the benefit of themselves because they enjoy the lifestyle and they know what
Yeah, I
comes.
think that's a whole nother
With it.
conversation if it's really a benefit to the children, because I don't believe that ever. If it's a truly toxic, bad environment. If it's a great situation, but you just found out Becky is on the side, maybe. But a lot of
That's the
times, if
assumption. You
it's
see, that's the
tumultuous,
assumption. The assumption
huh?
is that it's a toxic environment, right? Let's say this. It's not. This is what they know. The dad goes on business, comes home. Dad goes on business, comes home.
Right.
The kids are not the wiser. You know what I mean? The kids are going the best care money can buy, whatever, whatever. Mom is there. You know what I'm saying? That's the scenario I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like where the kids can see what's happening.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's bad. But get out of that situation. That's dead wrong. You know what I mean? But I also see the other side of it where women will stay and they'll hold on. And here's the thing: I've always felt like women will stay when somebody has money a little longer, but when they leave, they're gone. They're gone forever. They don't come back. And if money kept the woman, Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, they'd all still be married. You know what I'm saying? They all still have their wives around, but no, they don't. So that goes to show, like, no amount of money when a woman is fed up is gonna keep a guy or
That's
whatever.
facts. Yeah. Yeah. I think yeah, definitely. I mean, if the person is providing a lifestyle that you can't provide, or shit, some people just can't provide a basic lifestyle for themselves, which is going
Yeah,
back to the beginning thing about women's roles and positions nowadays. Women, it's not common that a woman's not working at all, but what if I am not working at all, or I have a low paying job and I got 3 kids, and you know what?
I don't judge that. I don't judge, man. Whatever a woman needs to do,
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. You might stick around, but get your lick back, sis. Like, no, I'm just
get your
kidding.
lick back. Yeah. So, yo, do you still believe, right? So there was always that. I think this is archaic. I think this is a long, long way gone. The theory about how women cheat emotionally when they're not emotionally satisfied. That's when women cheat, and that men cheat just because it's a physical act. I think we need to reconsider that whole thing, yo. Because I've met too many women that are just hot asses doing what they want to do out of these streets, disrespecting their man. Or, man, listen, how about this? I met a girl the other day. I met a girl the other day, right? She was staying at this hotel because her and her man had a domestic issue, and she just needed to get away. And then while she's sitting there in the lobby, he's thinking that she's at the hotel to get away, and she's setting up a booty call with her man. So she started that whole fight just so she
So
could
she
get
can
out
go be free, right?
back to go, yeah, to see the side dude. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, yeah, you're not the no, that's bullshit,
Not
man.
the
That's
victim
such an
here.
old way of thinking. Oh, because a woman doesn't get what she needs emotionally, and she steps out and he because that's always how that goes, man. Women will try to paint that narrative quick. I cheated because something he did. I think that's so
No,
out.
yeah, that's true. And then a lot of women be super duper babies about shit. So it's like, yeah, is that even a valid, to some degree, I could see how you might, find yourselves in the arm of someone if there's a for real situation. But, you know, yeah, because he put ham, cheese, ham, and not cheese, ham, cheese is not, it's not the reason, right?
All right, so we're at like 40 something minutes, and I want to bring back something that me and you used to do, and I always found it hilarious based on the answers that we would get. Um, let's play a game of red flag, no red flag. All right, okay. So Miss Illy, you go on a first date with a gentleman,
Hmm.
and it's a nice restaurant. Everything is cool. Everything's been nice, and he pulls out a Groupon. Red flag, no red flag.
No red flag. If he acknowledges why it might look weird, but has a valid reason. I'm grown. I respect not spending our money frivolously, especially on a first date, and I do even as a woman, I can understand how expensive dating can be for a man if you are dating women of any quality, because they're not going to be happy with Applebee's or whatever, so you got to drop a couple dollars. So no, I wouldn't be all the way, as long as he, was real and acknowledged, like, I know this might look kind of crazy, but listen, I saw this Groupon, I knew we were coming here, you pay the bill, you leave a good tip, no harm, no foul to me.
Second red flag, no red flag. You went out to dinner. Everything was great. Service was amazing. You had a great day. The bill comes. The bill says 75.49. He leaves $80. Red flag, no red flag.
Yeah, red flag. Um, Red flag. I mean, I think there's just general etiquette in a restaurant that you would like your man to have and know. Um, so are you cheap? Are you uncultured? Don't go out much. You don't know how it works. What's the issue? So it make me look at you. Yeah, red flag.
Red flag. Okay. Red flag, no red flag. You go out on a first date and he's driving a very nice vehicle. It's a dope car. He never once just takes you out. It was a great day. Second day comes around, he pulls up in a car that's not doing very well and explains to you how, for the first date, he rented the car. Red flag, no red flag. Now, mind you, he didn't tell you that that wasn't his car. He tried to stunt like it was the first date. Second date, he pulls up in his real car, and his car's a hot mess. Red flag, no red flag.
Yeah, that's a red flag. Because what else are you hiding or covering up?
What else?
Uh,
Uh-huh. Okay, okay. I see. So no points for effort. No points for trying to impress me the
If
first
you
time.
told me it wasn't your car, like you can impress me. Like, look, this is not my car, but I rented it for the night. Whatever, whatever. Okay, all right, you're doing something. Trying
Doesn't that,
to.
doesn't that speak to the woman that the car meant something? Like, you know what I mean?
It's not that the car means something because you're being weird
You're
now.
being weird.
Like, don't, because the assumption is going to be that it's your car. If I already agreed to a date, it wasn't, we'll assume it wasn't based off of your car, right? I just met you wherever I met you. I agreed to a date. You came and picked me up in the nice car. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, good choice, Illy, because you know what I mean? We got a nice car. But it wasn't because of the car. Let's assume it wasn't because it's not one of those, them YouTube videos where they be setting the girls up like, hey, want to
Yeah,
come on
yeah,
a date? But you came, the assumption is going to be that it's your car. I don't have any reason to ask if it's your car or your brother's car or rented car. So I'll assume that it's your car. And if you never mention that, and then you come and get me in a hoopty now, did you come in the nice, new clean Toyota or your shit falling apart?
yeah. It's
The
falling
AC
apart.
doesn't work.
It's falling
Mm-mm.
apart.
Yeah, like, because then I'm like, what else are you hiding? And why are you doing that? Why did you try to floss knowing good and goddamn well if we went on a second date, I was going to see your car? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? No, it's weird. It's weird.
Red flag, no red flag. We went out on a date. Um, we had some dinner. Maybe we caught some kind of little activity after. I'm a good $245 into this date. On the way home, I ask you, hey man, could you put some money on gas? Can you put something on gas? Red flag, no red flag.
Red flag.
The nerve of these independent women. Let me tell you something. It's funny how feminism goes out the window when it comes to certain shit.
Here's the thing, right? If you invite someone, this has always been my problem, but you invite somebody on a date, you are covering the cost. That includes the gas, the transportation. Or listen, if gas is an issue, I can meet you, especially if it's a first date. I don't have any problem. Like, I'm
So
not
you
expecting,
have no problem meeting him, but not
no,
giving him 20 for gas.
no, it's your guest. Fuck. I didn't ask you to pick me up. Because here's the thing too, like I'm a meter. I actually prefer to
Yeah,
meet
yeah,
someone.
it's probably the smartest thing to do anyway.
Right. But okay, if a guy comes to pick me up, it's because he asked to do so. It's never was me. So you made that. I told you where I live, you decided you wanted to drive, then there, that's you. You got that. Don't plan a date you can't afford. If I invited him to dinner, I'm gonna keep it within my budget. That includes gas and transportation. Yeah, no, don't ask me to pay no damn gas. But
For the record, I pay for it. I don't care. And I don't ask for gas.
good.
That's hilarious. All right. So I think there was one more. Let me dig. I had written it somewhere, and for some reason the paper is gone. But oh, let's go to the good old classic. This is the classic. This is the one that always bugs me out, man, and always cracks me up. Red flag, no red flag. Mom comes over every week to do his laundry.
Red flag. Flag.
Red flag. That always. So okay. So this is where I went with that. I find that red flag, no red flag is determined by how that action is going to affect me in the future. If I see that your money's up funny, it's going to affect me in the future. So that's a red flag. If I see that your mom does your laundry, you might expect me to do your laundry in the future. That's a red flag. If it only affects you, then it's not a red flag. If it's not, the women only feel like it's a red flag if eventually it's going to get back to them and their doorstep and hurt them.
Well, that's a definition of a red flag. Like, is this look like behavior that could be detrimental to a successful relationship? So using a Groupon is not going to be detrimental to a successful relationship. And matter of fact, it might help us stack our chips even more, right?
Right.
But your mama doing your laundry every week, either again, I'm gonna be expected to do your laundry, which I mean, if we're together, I probably do the laundry anyway, because that's what happens. But my real concern is she still going to be coming over to do the laundry while I'm
You need
there?
to know your
Like,
little Mickey
you're
Mouse.
doing this wrong, girl. That's not how you wash his underwear. Like, no, that's not what we're doing. So yes, I guess you have a theory there. Your theory makes sense.
Well, um, there's always tons to talk about when it comes to me and you getting together. There's always, I mean, I'm gonna save a couple of things, put them in the holster for the next time you come back on. But because I definitely want to cover, we still didn't really touch on sex. We didn't touch on, um, the difference between being single and being in a relationship. What are the pros and cons? Which you know what? Let's just touch on that a little bit. As somebody, right, who in the time that I've known you, has kind of gone through. What are some of the pros to being single? What are some of the pros to being in a relationship? Like, what do you when you have to take the balance? What are some of the things you look for that you appreciate the most?
Um, I think the biggest thing of being single is that there's no one to answer to. And that doesn't necessarily mean, and like, babe, can I have permission for this? But the reality of it is, you're in a relationship, it's a union, the person's opinion matters, their presence in your life matters. There's so many things that you don't have to take into consideration when you're single. Like, you take nothing about another person into consideration, it's just you. So that's the easiest part. That's why the best part of it is that there's no compromise, there's no disagreements. It's like, it's what I want, is what we're doing. um Short of that, I'll be honest, like, I don't think there's really much more benefit. um it depends on your personality type. Otherwise, I think that being in a relationship, if you are a settled person, if some people like to be out and free, and by all means live your life, but if you're a settled person that is single, it's just like, oh, okay. And then you get in a relationship, you have the support, you have the companionship, you have the additional head to think of things, and see things in a different way. I think the
I always
benefits
say,
are. Hmm.
I always say, women are not battling against another woman. I
Women are
always
what?
Women are not battling other women when it comes to me. They're
Uh-huh.
not. I approach women one at a time,
Okay.
so they're not battling other women. What they're battling is my solitude, like my time alone, like my peace. If that's what you're up against. If talking to you is hard, it doesn't come easy. It's a pain. It's stressful. Then no, you're not up against another woman. You're up against my solitude. I'd rather just be
Facts. That's facts.
alone.
Yeah.
Now, if when I talk to you, you bring a sense of calm, I'm able to share with you, and I don't. I'm not ready to rush off the phone, or I'm not ready to hang up, or I'm not ready to like be alone. That's a
Rolling your eyes every time the phone rings, like,
Yeah, that's a real clear tell
great.
sign to me that you're like, okay, this person is legit. This person is dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I always say, it's the long age battle of, so right now, especially on the internet, people will convince you that alone and solo and be by yourself, and I'm like, no, there's a lot of benefits to being in a nice a comfortable, a happy relationship.
Happy. Yeah, no.
And
It's it. Like you said, it has to be better than your solitude and your peace. Because it's not just about a relationship, being in a partnership, no.
the best part of the date is when the Uber gets there in the morning. Then trust me, you don't want to be with that person.
That
Just,
part.
just keep it moving.
Yeah, for real. So, yeah, no. Like, I think that And it doesn't even have to be a toxic relationship, but just a relationship that
Not fulfilling.
lacks compatibility,
Right.
is not worth it, and it will never be better, no matter what other benefits it might provide. But yeah, I think otherwise, it's great.
Well, with that, I want to say, Miss Illy, as always, thank you so much for showing up here, showing out, and doing what you do best. We're definitely gonna have you back. You know, you're a staple for the show. Um, and we missed you, man. And the audience missed you, man. Early on,
Yeah, I said
especially,
I look forward
hey,
to
whatever
doing.
happened to Miss Illy? What happened to Miss Illy? I was like, oh,
Uh,
okay. She'll be back. You know, she's busy. She's doing her thing, growing as a
yeah, life happens,
happens.
and schedules get like this, and
There
time,
it is.
whatever availability, but we'll make it work. I'm glad to be back. I
Um,
too have missed our chit chats.
hell
They're
yeah. We're
fun.
gonna get back to it. So I appreciate you. And with that, I'm gonna let you go real quick. And ladies and gentlemen, as always, I like to close my show with these kind words. Mark Twain says that the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you discover why. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N. podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Underscore Dropping Dimes, aka the Hopeful Romantic, aka the feminist with chauvinist tendencies, and I would like to thank everybody for joining me in the walk in my why. Everybody, you have a great night. See you next week.